Hello everyone. This video is related to transmission line parameters. What are the parameters and why they are present in the transmission line of power system, that we will see in this video. The contents of this video are: we'll see the introduction, then conductor materials, then types of conductors, bundle conductors, resistors, inductance, and the transposition of overhead lines and the capacitance. These are the contents of my video. We'll see first introduction. Resistance. Resistance is present in the network because of the conducting material and the conductors present in the transmission line. Transmission line means there is a generation, it is stepped up at the generating station, then the power is transmitted through transmission line, and at the receiving end at the load side once again step down transformer is commenced, and the power is distributed. So during this transmission line from generator to load side, the resistance is present because of the conducting material. Conducting material is made up of copper. Copper has some resistance. Mostly we use the copper, and that's why it has some resistance, and that's why resistance is present in the network. Now inductance. Why inductance is present? Because every carrying conductor, every current carrying conductor produces its own flux around the conductor and within the conductor. That's why the inductance is present. Then the capacitance. Capacitance is present because the conductor and the earth is forming some dielectric medium between these two, and that's why the capacitance is present, is forming between the conductor and the earth surface. Also, the two overhead lines having capacitance between these two conductors, because two conductors carry current in one direction, another conductor carries current in another direction, and they form charge around the surface of each conductor, and air acts as a dielectric medium. Hence, the two wires, between the two wires, the capacitance is present. The shunt conductance, it is because of the leakage in the isolators and insulators. So first two parameters depend on the material used and physical dimensions of the conductor. Shunt conductors is caused by the leakage over the insulators and is usually neglected in both the cases. Usually we neglect the shunt conductors for both underground cables and overhead lines under normal conditions. Under normal conditions, that means the transmission line is under normal condition, which means everything is normal, the voltage is normal, and there is no abnormality present in the transmission line. Abnormality means the short circuits occurring or some transients occurring which are not normal. So under normal conditions, these shunt conductances are neglected. So next we will move towards the conductor materials. There are some specific qualities of good conducting material. It has a low specific resistance leading to less resistance and high conductivity, high tensile strength to withstand mechanical stress, low specific gravity in order to give low weight per unit volume, low cost in order to use over long distances, high conductivity, high resistance to corrosion in weather conditions, high thermal stability, low coefficient of thermal expansion. So these are some good qualities of a good conducting material. The best conducting material is a copper, but it has having all these 8 qualities, but it has only one disadvantage, that the cost is very high. The cost of copper is very high, and that's why it cannot be used for very long transmission lines. So we'll prefer aluminum, that we'll see in our coming slides. But uh, in this picture you can see how the conducting material, how the conductor is made up of, and these are known as stranded conductors. That means there are individual small conductors, they are spiral together, and then the insulating material is placed around this the whole conductor. So this is known as standard conductor. That means there are so many conductors clubbed together to form one conductor. It can be single conductor also, it can be standard conductor also, and we'll see how hollow conductors are also present in the network. So here we'll see copper, a small cross-sectional area is sufficient, and uh, there is less resistance offered by the conductor to wind loads is very low. So copper is the best conducting material for transmission line. Aluminium also we use because it is low in cost compared to copper, light in weight for the same current carrying capacity, and has a larger diameter has to adopt, which leads to lower voltage gradient the surface. So these are the conducting material. It is continued, and see how the standard conductors are present. These are the uh, these are the copper conductors, and around that bigger radius conductors are present. These are made up of aluminium. So that is also one of the possibilities how these are made up of. Only aluminium is also sometimes not possible because aluminium has some more resistance than the copper. So if throughout the length of the transmission line if aluminium is used, then it is having higher resistive losses, and which cannot be compromised. So sometimes we use the combination of aluminium and copper. So here at the center, one single conductor, around it 6 conductors of copper, and then around that bigger diameter aluminium conductors are placed. Those are known as steel cored aluminium conductors. That is known as ACSR aluminium conductors, steel reinforced. Galvanized steel is also used for transmission line, and cadmium copper are also used. Then we'll see the types of conductors. The solid conductors. Just now we saw the solid conductors and standard conductors and hollow conductors. We'll see solid conductors, that means only one conductor is present inside one insulator, and it is used for a smaller length of transmission line. Then we'll see the next type is standard conductors. Standard conductors means inside one insulation there are small diameter conductors are placed together. Central it is 1, around it 6, then around it is 12, like this. So these are known as stranded conductors. That means small conductors are placed together to form only one conductor. Then hollow conductors. Hollow conductors means through the hollow conductors, that means it is having a hollow inside the conductor, and those are for high voltage transmission line, because those are used because water or heat produced can be extracted, and that's why hollow conductors sometimes are used for uh, those are also used, and that those can be used for high transmission line. Then the bundle conductors. The bundle conductor means there are two or more than two conductors per phase. That should not be confused with the stranded conductors, because stranded conductors means small conductors are clubbed together to form one conductor, but for one phase there are two or more than two conductors. So here the distance between the two conductors is 2 or 3 millimeter, and both the two conductors carry current in one direction. It is forming complete one phase. There are some advantages of bundled conductors. The corona loss is very less, and it has having higher GMR, and it reduces the net reactance of the conductor. Power transmission capacity is increased. That we'll see in our coming slides what is mean by GMR and what is mean by GMD. It has lower voltage regulation due to low inductive reactance, reduced radio interference with communication lines, and it has improved stability. There are some disadvantages of bundle conductors. Charging kVA increases. Charging kVA means the capacitance is present in the network, and that's why its capacitance is increased, and charging current is more in that case. So these are the size of tower increases due to large space between the conductors. Wind and ice loading increases due to large diameter of the conductor. Another possibility is uh, 4 conductors. There can be a possibility of 5 and 6 conductors also per phase. So this is known as the bundle conductors. In short, I would like to tell you what is meant by bundle conductor. See here, there are 2 conductors per phase. This is a vertical position now, vertical positioning of the transmission line. All the 3 phases of transmission line are vertically placed. So here there are 2 conductors and 2 conductors for each phase. Then another diagram is showing the 3 conductors per phase. Here there are 4 conductors per phase. Just now we see in our last slide. This is there are 6 conductors per phase. Those are placed on the corners of the hexagon. So there are 6 conductors per phase. 6 here, 6 here, and 6 here. Total 18 conductors per in transmission line. Let us see the example in detail. There are 4 conductors per phase. This square is known as spacer, so that it always keep equal distance between all the 4 conductors. It binds together. It constantly keeps constant distance between the 4 conductors. Even if the wind comes, then also the distances between these 4 conductors is kept intact. It holds The spacers holds all the 4 conductors together throughout the transmission line. These are equally distant. These are placed at some equal distance, so that its distance is maintained. Now we'll see in detail how the resistances of the transmission line due to the conductors is present. The resistance of transmission line conductors is the most important cause of power loss in the transmission line. The resistance R of a line in the conductor having resistance rho, resistivity rho, length L, and area of cross section A is given by R is equals to rho L by A. Now resistance is because of the resistance offered by the conductor, right? So that is depending upon the rho, resistivity, L, and A. Resistance is directly proportional to rho, directly proportional to the length of the transmission line, and indirectly proportional to, that means inversely proportional to the cross sectional area of the conductor. The variation of resistance of metallic conductors with temperature is practically linear over the normal range of operation. Suppose R1 and R2 are the resistances of the conductor at T1 degree Celsius and T2 degree Celsius if T2 is greater than T1 respectively. If alpha 1 is the temperature coefficient at T1 degree Celsius, then it is given by R2 is equal to R1 in the bracket 1 plus alpha 1 temperature coefficient into bracket T2 minus T1 and the bracket closed. Alpha 1 is given by this formula and alpha 0 is given by this formula, temperature coefficient at 0 degrees Celsius. So these are the very basic things of the resistances and uh, resistivity, length and cross section. In single phase 2-wire system or 2-wire DC line, the total resistance is known as loop resistance and is equal to the double of the resistance of either of the conductor. That is very important. In case of 3-phase transmission line, resistance per phase is the resistance of one conductor. That means resistance of per phase means resistance of one